Hi, so if you read my blog, you'll know that I'm quite a big fan of print advertising. I don't think it should be all you do, but I do think that it's a really good way of reaching older consumers, people who tend to be quite affluent and who tend to also be particularly good customers for certain products. But I mean, lately I've been writing print ads in supplements market. Now, supplements, if you're in a business like that, you really should at least consider print advertising, because it's going to be a really good way of getting straight to the sort of people who buy supplements. You know, I'm not generalizing here, but I mean, older people, baby boomer sort of generations, tend to favor print even today. So it's definitely something you should be considering in your business, I think, and it's why I still enjoy writing print ads, and we still get a lot of good profits from them. In fact, I'm going to show you a concept I've drawn up only a couple of months ago, which helped pull 47% more sales for a business. Now, the technique which I'm going to go over is very simple. It's so simple I'll be able to explain it in a couple of minutes on this video. But it's in this book called Cutting Edge Advertising, which I really highly recommend you buy. Whether you're a copywriter or a business owner, it's definitely the best book I've read on print advertising, and it'll show you how to do it effectively. And it's written by a bloke called Jim Aitchison as well, if you're looking for that book. It's called Cutting Edge Advertising by Jim Aitchison. And the best concept I've read in it, and it's one that's always in my mind when I'm writing a print ad, is about matching together the visual and the headline. Now, this is something that copywriters have been doing for years, like going all the way back. If you go back to the days of Claude Hopkins and such, you'll see that they're very careful about making sure that visuals and headlines match together to make a more powerful advert. It's more 2 + 2 = 5 sort of concept. But in this cutting edge advertising, I found one of the best techniques he mentions is talking about the difference between straight headlines and bent headlines, and straight visuals and bent visuals. And what that basically means is you can bend a headline or a visual to basically assume a benefit to the customer rather than deliver a straight benefit, such as, well, a classic straight benefit headline would be, say, how to win friends and influence people. That's just very direct, telling you the benefit. You can use one or the other, either the visual or the headline, to assume a benefit to the consumer so that they sort of make the connection in their own head. And when they do this, there's a sort of a feeling of satisfaction, which basically it helps maintain their attention. So, sorry, this is one of my first videos, so I apologise if it's a bit rubbish. But I'm going to go over this concept using a couple of ads as examples. So let's just bring this round. Okay, so what we got here is probably one of the best adverts ever written for a car. If not, it would certainly be in the top 3. And this was written by David Ogilvy back in the 50s, I think. Yeah, March 1959. And it's for Rolls-Royce. And as you can see, we've got a straight image here in this print ad. It's just some kids going out to the car. There's no puzzle in here, there's no conundrum to solve. So what Ogilvy's done here, having used a straight image like that, he's used what we call a bent headline, where he's just bent the meaning a little so that it assumes a benefit. So here it is: at 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock. Now, had he wrote this as a straight headline, he'd have written maybe something like, it'd be a terrible example, but something like, this Rolls-Royce is quieter than any other car. Let's just say that, just for the sake of it, which would be a straight headline, but he hasn't. Instead, he's used the electric clock to sort of conjure an image in the reader's mind. He hasn't even used the word quiet, but yet the reader gets the instinctively knows this car is extremely quiet just from imagining the electric clock. So there you go. Straight visual, bent headline. You can also do the opposite, however. You can, if I take a look, I've got it marked in this page here. So this is an example. I think this is from the Fallon agency in Minneapolis. This would be some years ago, but they're doing as you can see, the opposite of what Ogilvy did in his ad. So you've got a SOLW, and so that would be considered a bent visual. we don't really know what the visual is. We need more information in order to figure out what's being said. So they've used a straight headline, "Stay in school." And so yeah, there you get it. It's the same sort of concept. This is a bent visual, straight headline, but you need the two together in order to make sense. In a way, maybe the visual, you could argue, isn't as important in this ad, but you can see it's the same concept. We've used a straight image and a bent headline in order to express the benefit of what's being sold. And so this video I'm actually putting on a blog post case study from a client whose sales were increased 47%. And I'm just going to use my concept. It's a very rough mock-up of the ad we ran to the printers. So our client was doing a 50% off sale. This is a clothing retailer in Toronto, and what we could have done is simply written on the postcard 50% off selected lines. Now that might be overlooked because it's too straight. It's shooting the benefit too straight. And so what I've thought about is how can we use the visual of the postcard to draw more attention to the benefit, to make that connection in the reader's mind, so we don't just make them think, oh, what's going on here, but also make them go, aha, so this is the benefit. They figure it out for themselves. So this particular sale was for renovations in this clothes shop, so I called it Barbuti's Clear Out for the Carpenter's Sale, and I put starts tomorrow. And I said to my partner who was dealing with the artist on this, why don't we put a rip halfway down the postcard like so, with prices halved, and then a carpenter's saw in the corner here, implying that the saw has gone through the postcard. So as you can see, this is very rough, obviously. I haven't got one of the true ads, which I'll try and get hold of to put on the website at some point. But the concept, obviously, you can see for yourself how the concept works. We use the visual, in this case, is bent. We're like, what is this rip in the postcard? That's the bent visual. And we use the headline, it's very straight, price is halved, Barbuti's Clear Out for the Carpenter's Sale starts tomorrow. And this did really well. When we ran this with a series of emails, we got a 47% response. We got a 47% more sales, and he managed to clear out enough stock, obviously, for his renovation. So we were really pleased with that too. So that's everything I've got to say on that concept. If you've got any questions, you can feel free to contact me. I've got my email and such on the About page. And I hope you found this useful. And like I say, I hope you at least consider print in your business or your clients' businesses, because if you're targeting certain markets or you want to reach people a certain way, it can be very effective so long as you use the right sort of creative and you don't get too clever. As you'll see, all of these ads, while they did use a little bit of cleverness to bend the image or the visual or the headline, they were always extremely simple to understand, and that's really key. You mustn't let anything get in the way of the benefit. You mustn't be too clever so that there's complexity, so that it's difficult for your readers to understand. So I hope that's useful. I'm going to put the link to my article in the description of this video as well, so you can see the full sort of article with all the information written up, because I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker, as you can probably see. So I hope that you found that useful, and all the best, and shoot me an email or something if you have any questions or comments. I wish you well. Thank you.